Hey, good morning, everybody. So it is Saturday morning. It is Jarrett here in New Orleans. I've been told by a couple different people, you guys like my accent. So I guess I'm going to be the New Orleans business entrepreneur, YouTube motivational, whatever preacher person. So um, yeah, that's the name of the channel, right? So anyway, today, guys, I wanted to talk to you guys about taking ownership and taking responsibility of the things that happen in our lives. And so I was on my way yesterday to my daughter's first um, game of her last season of high school softball. So I said that correctly. So she's a senior. She just started her last varsity game for the first time, right? Her first last season for the last time or whatever. And so, obviously, you know, when I graduated high school, I went to college. Um, didn't really do too well in college, kind of flunked out, and then started working, right? Got married, had a bunch of kids, and was, pretty successful in a lot of the things that we did. I did. Um, and so, yeah, just kind of went through everything. And what? 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 Hello? Okay. All right. Love you too. All right. Well, had to answer the phone. Crap. Anyway, so so yeah, this is why you don't go live, guys. Uh, but anyway, um, we are still streaming, right? Yeah, we're still streaming. Okay, so there you go. So anyway, on my way to that last game, right, and I was just kind of thinking of like my life in general. So here I am. Um, was pretty successful in business, made some decent money, uh, tried multiple businesses through my 20s and my 30s. I think three or four different businesses started and just let them go. They weren't successful or anything like that. But I always knew that the reason that they weren't successful was because of me. Like I always knew that it wasn't because of the market, it wasn't because of the economy, it wasn't because it was a bad time in my life, it wasn't because of anything else other than the fact that like I failed, right? And and so here I am. I'm 40 years old. I'm sending off my oldest child next year to college, doing all this stuff. I'm in a new business now for the last year, continually moving forward, growing and growing and growing and growing, starting to see some success. But again, it's all about that taking of the ownership of your failures and your successes. Like, so, I notice a lot of people, they will share their successes all the time. Like, they'll share their successes on Facebook, they'll share their successes with this and say, oh man, look what I did today. Um, you know, look at this win. Look at this. Look at my life. Look at my family. It's always green, right, on the other side of the social media, um, and they paint this picture that they're the epitome of success, right? And maybe they are. Maybe they have money. Maybe everything's great. Maybe everything's grand. But they paint this big picture, um, and whatever it is, whatever happened in their life, whatever's going on, you have to know that that's not your story. Their story is not your story. Um, their dreams are not your dreams. Their hopes and their desires are not your desires. Like my hopes and my desires aren't anybody's but my own. And so, what you really don't see though on Facebook and Instagram and all this stuff is people taking responsibility and taking ownership. You know, we see it all the time. When was the last time you saw somebody actually taking ownership of something, right? And I'm not talking about like saying, "Hey, my day was terrible," and "Hey, guess what, guys? Today I had a really bad day." But how about somebody who says, "Hey, I had a really bunch of bad circumstances happen to me today, and I didn't handle them right, And so my day was bad. Instead of saying like my day was bad because of all of these different situations that came, like, oh, for example, like, oh, I got up this morning, right? My I had a flat tire in my car. I couldn't make it to work. Made it to work late. My boss chewed me out. Came home. Kids had the house messy. This, and this, and this, and that's the reason I had a bad day, right? And you see, we cast that blame and we put that responsibility of our bad day on everything else. We put it on the day. And in reality, we have to really put it on ourselves and take ownership of that, because how we handle those situations is how we are going to handle all the situations that come. Like, we get to choose whether that flat tire is going to ruin our day. We get to choose whether that boss can determine what kind of day we're going to have. And so many of us, we let other people determine what kind of days what kind of day we're gonna have. And there's some of you out there that let other people determine what kind of life that you're gonna have. Some of you guys have hopes and dreams, and I know it's like pounding in your heart. It's pounding. It's like a pounding desire, and we let other people and other outside circumstances get in the way of those passions and those dreams and that purpose. I mean, look at it like this. How many of you have a desire to play music? How many of you have a desire to learn a different language? And so what do you do when you have that desire? You go out and you buy that musical instrument. Let's just say it's a guitar. You go buy that guitar. You may book lessons, and you go and book 1 month of lessons or 2 months of lessons, and everything's going well. And all of a sudden something comes, and you can't make that lesson, and then you can't make the next lesson. You can't make the next lesson, and then the guitar gets played less and less and less and less, and then the guitar gets placed in the closet. Right? Now what really happened? Did the desire to play that guitar leave? Did that passion that you first had, did it leave you? Or did you shelve it a little bit because everything else is going on? And we hear this excuse all the time, oh, well, life got in the way. Well, you know what? Life always gets in the way. Like that successful person that you follow on social media, life gets in his way. That person, that your next door neighbor, life gets in that way. And it's just us whether or not we're going to take up ownership of the decision that we make to put our dreams and our hopes and our passions on the shelf. And don't put those things on the shelf. Take ownership of those things. Take ownership and say, hey, you know what? I'm lacking passion. I'm lacking desire. Like all those businesses and all those different avenues that I went in through my entire life that I failed at. Yeah, there were some outside circumstances, but they're my fault. They're my failures. They belong to me. They don't belong to anybody else. They're my decisions. So when I decided to shelf something, it was my decision to shelf it. And sometimes we don't protect ourselves. Sometimes we don't protect our goals. Look, the person that is trying to help you can't want it more than you. Like if you go to a personal trainer, that personal trainer can't want to get fit more than you. Because that person can't make the decisions that need to be made for you. We have to take ownership. And I like to always throw in some wisdom from scripture and different things like that. And so I was reading in the book of Samuel, and it's about David, and I'm going to share it with you. And David made a bad decision, and God gave him an option. God said, hey, look, David, you made a really bad decision. You made a bad move, and there's going to have to be a consequence. Something's going to have to be paid. There's a cost for that decision that you made. Does that sound familiar? There's a cost to every decision we make. And that decision, God gave David a choice, which was nice. He said, hey, look, I'm going to let armies come, and they're going to decimate you and kill your people. I'm going to let famine for 3 years come, and your people are going to die, and it's going to be miserable, and they're going to suffer. Or I'm going to send a plague for a couple of days or whatever, and it's going to be bad. And so David said, well, hey, look, I don't want to be at the hands of men, so I want to be at your hands. So God sent like a sickness or a plague or whatever. And it was ravaging through the people. And I got it right here. So it says, when David saw the angel that killed the people, he said to the Lord, I am the one who sinned and did wrong. These people only followed me like sheep. They did nothing wrong. Please punish me and my family. And then that day came to David. That day Gad came to David. He was a prophet. And he said, go and build an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor of Araunah, the Jebusite. So David did what Gad told him to do, just as the Lord, just as the Lord commanded. And then Uriah looked and saw the king and his servants coming to him. And he went out face down on the ground before the king. He said, "Why has my master the king came to me?" David answered, "To buy the threshing floor from you so I can build an altar to the Lord. Then this terrible disease will stop." Uriah said to David, "My master and king, you may take anything you want for a sacrifice. Here are some of the oxen for the whole burnt offering and the threshing boards and yokes for the wood. My king, I give everything to you." Uriah said to the king, "May the Lord God bless you, be pleased with you." But the king answered Uriah, "No, I will pay you for the land. I will offer to the Lord my God burnt offerings that cost me nothing." So I want you to listen to that. Uriah was saying, "Hey, look, I'm going to give you everything you need. I'm going to give you everything you need. Just take it. Just take it. And I pray that God is happy with you and that all of this stuff." But I want you to look at what David said. He said, "No, I will pay you for the land. I won't offer the Lord my God burnt offerings that cost me nothing." And David was taking ownership. He was taking ownership. He knew he sinned, and he was taking ownership for that sin. Don't have costless hopes and dreams, guys. If your dreams and your hopes and your desires cost you nothing, then they don't have any value. We have to take responsibility for our dreams and our hopes and our passions and our desires. You have to take that responsibility. You have to take that ownership. The second that you deny responsibility is the second you lose power over that situation. And I'm going to repeat that again. The second that you deny responsibility for what's going on in your life is the second you lose the power to fix it. It's this that if you say, "Hey, it's not my fault," well, guess what? That's putting the responsibility on somebody else to fix it. If you're saying, "Hey, it's not my fault, I failed," well, that puts the responsibility on somebody else to succeed. But when you say, "Hey, you know what? It's my fault I failed, and I have to change the things, and I have to take ownership and do the things I have to do to be better," right? I have to do the things that I have to do to be better. So I want you to think about that. Take ownership today. Take ownership of your life. Take ownership of your failures. Take ownership of your success, and just keep pushing forward. Keep moving forward. Don't give the power away. Like, don't give the power away. Don't say, "Hey, it's not my fault." Say, "Hey, it is my fault, and today I'm going to change it. Today I'm going to do something about it. Today I'm going to keep moving forward." And look, some of us are in situations where people are like, "Hey, I don't want you to fail. I don't want you to fail. I don't want you to fail." That's great. Nobody wants anybody to fail. I don't want anybody to fail. But at the end of the day, you got to put in the work. Because going after something that's not going to cost you anything has no value. It doesn't have any value. It may cost, and I can't tell you what the cost is, but you're going to have to pay it, whatever it is. And so I hope that helps. I just wanted to get that off my chest. If y'all have not subscribed to the YouTube or Facebook or whatever it is, make sure you hit subscribe, hit like, hit share, if this has helped you guys in any way. I hope to see you soon. I'm just figuring out all this computer stuff, so I'm sorry the quality's probably not great, but we got to start somewhere, right? And if it sucks, my fault.